All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. I know we'll have folks joining as we go along this evening, but we want to go ahead and get started because we have a lot of great information to share with you all this evening. To introduce myself, my name is Maggie West, and I'm the Durham Pre-K Workforce Support Program Manager, and I'm really thankful to be here this evening with all of you as we have the opportunity to learn more about scholarships and financial aid opportunities available for individuals who are already working in early childhood education, or if you're interested in starting a career in early childhood education. So thank you for being here. Just some quick kind of housekeeping, Zoom reality moments. This meeting will be recorded, and we'll be sharing that recording with everyone who registered, as well as posting it on the Durham Pre-K website for future viewing by anyone who may have missed this opportunity. If you're following along but need to go back to the video later to double check something once you get started on your own applications, this will be available as a reference along with some follow-up materials. And as we go along, please do place any questions you have for the presenters in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat as they're speaking, or just know that we will also have time for questions after each of the presenters. So please also feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions directly during those portions of the session. But then just so we can hear all the speakers clearly, we do ask that when you're not speaking, please just keep your microphone muted. You're welcome to be on camera, off camera, whatever works for you. I know there's lots of multitasking that has to happen in the evening, so but we're happy to see your faces if you're able. So I wanted to give a quick overview of the agenda. And if you can, we invite you to post your answer to this welcome question in the chat. So add your name and one thing or more that you're really hoping to learn from our session this evening. You can add that in the chat. And so this evening we'll be hearing first from Soretta Broadway with College Foundation of North Carolina to do a kind of financial aid 101. So a FAFSA how-to, highlighting some of the different resources available to you here in our state, some free support that's available for FAFSA, and taking your questions and offering some answers. And then we'll have Kara Trinkle with us, who will be sharing from the T.E.A.C.H Early Childhood Scholarship Program, kind of an overview of all the T.E.A.C.H scholarship opportunities, their application process, and some of the benefits and resources available to you. And again, taking your questions and your answers and offering some answers to those. And then I'll be sharing a little bit of a preview about some early childhood educator apprenticeships we're going to be launching here in Durham. And as well as some apprenticeship resources if you're not in Durham but interested in those opportunities in other counties across the state. So to introduce our presenters, we have with us Soretta Broadway, who's with College Foundation Incorporated as a senior CFNC regional manager for the College and Career Information Service, College Foundation of North Carolina. She focuses on the area of North Carolina within the 919-984 telephone area code and also assists CFNC representatives in other regions as needed. A graduate of St. Augustine's University with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, she has worked at the foundation for 35 plus years and is a member of the North Carolina Association of Student Financial Aid Administrators. She makes presentations and conducts trainings related to careers, financial literacy, and how to plan, apply, and pay for college to students, families, and educators from K through 12 and colleges and universities, as well as community groups like ours, churches, youth programs, and service organizations. We also have with us Kara Trinkle, who's been with the T.E.A.C.H program for 2 years as an outreach coordinator, as well as carrying a caseload as a counselor. So thank you both so much for being here. We're excited to have you and know you both have a lot of experience and resources to share with us. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and pass the microphone to Ms. Broadway.
I'd like to say good evening to everyone and to thank Ms. West for inviting me to share the platform with you all this evening. It's always a pleasure to talk about financial aid. It may not be one of the most exciting topics, but it's definitely a topic that needs to be explained because things change from year to year. So as she stated, it's going to be financial aid 101. I'm not going to dive too deep into it, but I'm going to give you the basics of financial aid, what you need to know. Okay, and if I could get my screen. Oh, going too fast. Let me go back. Let's talk about what CFNC actually does for the residents here in the state of North Carolina. We are a one-stop shop resource center where we provide information on planning, applying, paying, and saving for college. We provide information on career planning, academic planning, college preparation, scholarships. We allow you to take a virtual tour of over 4,000 plus colleges and universities. Our website is geared toward kindergarten all the way through adulthood, so there's something for everyone. As you can see with the green wheel, there are 6 organizations that make up CFNC. College Foundation Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that was chartered back in 1955. The UNC system, the community college system, as well as your private independent colleges and universities here in the state of North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, and North Carolina State Education Assistance Authority. The 6 of us decided to come under one umbrella to provide everything you need to know about planning, applying, paying, and saving for college. Again, we refer to it as one-stop shopping. We do have a toll-free number, which you can call if you have any questions about where to find information. Perhaps you want to make a suggestion or what have you. Feel free to reach out to us at 1-866-866-2362. I'm one of 10 field representatives that cover the state of North Carolina, providing information about our free resources. What we're going to be discussing this evening is we're going to talk very briefly about scholarships, college cost of attendance, different types of financial aid, that wonderful FAFSA form, residency determination service application, different sources for scholarship, and of course, we're going to talk about some of CFNC's resources. 4 main resources is, of course, word of mouth, working with a school counselor or someone at your college or university, your advisor. CFNC.org is another wonderful place to look for scholarships because they are geared primarily toward North Carolina residents attending a North Carolina school. So you're just competing with the state of North Carolina and not every state across the country. And then, of course, the institution in which you will be attending, always check their website for scholarships. And then we have a few national scholarship sites listed below: unigo.com/scholarships, capix.com, fastweb.com, collegegreenlight.com, and HSF, Hispanic College Fund, which is hsf.net, just to mention a few. And you'll be able to see these on our website also. A few scholarship tips when applying for scholarships: just make sure you do follow the instructions. Just answer what is asked. Stay within the length required. Try to personalize it. Learn a little bit about the sponsor. Tell a story. We want to make sure that we're spell checking. Spell check is kind of funny. The word could be spelled correct, but in the wrong content. So you definitely want to make sure that you are rereading it aloud and maybe put another set of eyes on it before you actually send that essay in or what have you. Again, follow instructions and always continue applying for scholarships. Yes, we as adults can get scholarships, 2-year scholarships for 2-year colleges as well as 4-year colleges and graduate school. So let's start talking about the college costs. You have direct costs. That's your tuition, your fees, room and board, if you're going to be living on campus or staying in a dorm, but that doesn't hold true for everyone. So if you're attending a community college, you don't have to be concerned about the room and board aspect of the direct costs. You just have to handle the tuition and the fees. And then we also have indirect costs, which could have been under the first bullet. Books and supplies could have been placed under direct costs, but really depending upon what your degree or field of study is going to be, is going to determine whether or not you're going to receive enough financial aid to cover your books and your supplies, but most likely they will be covered under financial aid. Transportation is not covered. Of course, driving back and forth for your own transportation, but if you were attending a four-year college or university, transportation on that campus with whatever the school transportation is that is allowed, getting you from one side of the campus to the other, is included within those fees. Personal and miscellaneous expenses is not covered. That's your toiletry money, your pocket money, your pizza money. But we as adults, we know how to take care of those things, but just want to definitely discuss it. Now, you're going to be taking out a loan. There are going to be fees that are charged, such as your origination fee for the processing of the loan and your insurance fee. That is in case of your death, if you become totally disabled. The loan would be paid in full, and most lenders will be charging about 4%. So before any monies are dispersed to the college or the university on your behalf, 4% will be taken out to cover those fees. So you want to make sure that when you're borrowing or deciding how much money you need to borrow, that you include that 4%, because it's going to be minus the 4% that you'll actually receive. So this is the basics of financial aid. Now, the first bullet, everybody wants that one, free money that doesn't have to be repaid, which comes in the form of a grant. Grants are given to us sometimes because of residency, and then you have you also have federal grants that residency had nothing to do with. A grant also, it isn't always all or nothing. Either you show all need. Some grants, you just have to show some need. So if a grant has a maximum amount of $6,500, you may show only need for a portion of that particular amount. So you may be able to get some of the money, but you may not get the maximum because you're not showing that you have total need. You don't have the ability to contribute to your education or what have you. And then scholarships, you've earned those. So that's going to be falling under the category of gift aid as well. And I'm saying this like one-on-one because sometimes we run into persons who may not know the difference between a grant and a scholarship. A scholarship is something that you would apply for, that you would take the initiative, and we have different types of scholarships. So you have also self-help aid. That's monies that you have earned through your employer, or if you're self-employed, and money that you're going to be paying back at a later date, such as a loan that you'll be paying back with interest. You have merit-based aid, which is monies that you have applied for that come in the form of a scholarship. And it looks at your academics or any special talent you may have, such as music, art, drama, or athletic ability. And then you have need-based aid, which looks at your income in order to determine whether or not you are eligible for any need-based aid. Again, I mentioned Pell Grant. That's one of the grants, of course, that you would need to show some type of need. Not all need, but you got to show a little bit of need in order to get some of that money. And then we have the federal Stafford loan. There is a loan under that program called the subsidized loan, and it's for students who show need. And the great thing about the subsidized loan is that the government will pay the interest for you while you're enrolled in school. You must be enrolled in school at least half time, of course, but they will pay the interest for you while you're enrolled in school and during your grace period. You're given 6 months before your loan actually goes into repayment. The government will continue to pay the interest for you during that grace period. But remember that last line, it is the student's family that is primarily responsible for the educational expense. And of course, if you are an adult student, it's your primary responsibility for your educational expenses. But of course, the government, the state, the institution will assist where they can. This is the formula used by colleges and universities to determine what type of financial aid or how much financial aid you're eligible to receive. They take the cost of attendance at that particular college or university, subtracting the expected family contribution, which will equal the eligibility that you are showing for need-based funds at that institution. In order for you to be considered for any type of financial aid that I've discussed thus far, you must complete the FAFSA form, the free application for federal student aid. You can visit FAFSA.gov or studentaid.gov. Either or, it's going to get you to the FAFSA form. We want you to apply for financial aid electronically because it's less likely that you will make an error when completing it electronically, because the system is calculating the information that you are typing in as you are going along. It will not allow you to go to the next question if the previous question is questionable. So we definitely want you to complete it electronically. But with that being said, by completing it electronically, you can't manually sign your application. So you need what we refer to as a federal student aid identification number, better known as FSA ID. So you would go to studentaid.gov, or you can go directly to fsaid.ed.gov to access the application. So that's a good place to start, because when you do begin your FAFSA form, you want to complete it in its entirety. So at the end of the application, you need your FSA ID, which is going to substitute your signature. The student needs this, and if I'm just gonna go out on a limb here and speak as if you have a student who may be a freshman a senior in high school that's going off to college. If it's a parent and a student, the student is dependent, you both would need an FSA ID. But you as an adult, only you would need to sign your application because you are an adult. So you would need to go and go through the security questions on the FSA ID application. Once you have completed the application in its entirety, it takes about 24 to 36 hours for you to go through the security clearance. Once you have completed or satisfied the security clearance, you would then be sent a code to enter so that you can retrieve your FSA ID that you would use every year on your FAFSA form, because you will be completing this application annually. And by the way, your FSA ID is good for 10 years, so you don't have to complete that process every year as long as you keep up with your FSA ID, but you will need to complete the FAFSA form on an annual basis. So you would be logging in either with your FSA ID or your password, of course, that you have created when logging into the FAFSA form. A few reminders, and I just want to put a little disclaimer out. The information that I am discussing tonight is good for the 23-24 academic year. Everything I'm talking about tonight is good for the previous years and this current year we're about to embark on, because July 1 starts a new academic year. So you apply early after October 1. So of course, if you are planning on starting school in the fall, you've missed the October 1 deadline that we're referring to, which was October 1, 2022. So you can go ahead and complete that application tonight if you feel like doing it, if you haven't already done so. You can use your mobile app or your tablet, because it's tablet friendly. You want to make sure you meet your college deadlines. It's very crucial that you always meet the deadline of the college or university here in the state of North Carolina. We don't have a state deadline, so you have to adhere by the college and university's FAFSA deadline. And why that's so important is because institutional monies that the school may be giving to each student that accepts admissions at their college or university is contingent upon you getting your FAFSA in by their deadline. Your community colleges don't typically have a FAFSA deadline, but your four-year colleges and universities will. You don't want to wait until you've been admitted to complete your FAFSA form, because you don't want to miss the deadline. Also, you can list up to 10 colleges or universities where you want your FAFSA form to be sent. But of course, if you already know the community college that you're going to attend, if that may be the case, you just list that community college or the college that you have been accepted to if it's a four-year college or university. Again, I want to reiterate, it is a yearly application process. The FAFSA form is. Dependency status for 23-24. Dependent students answers no to all of these questions. Were you born before January 1, 2001? Are you married? Working on a master's or doctorate in 24-25? Do you have children that you are providing greater than 50% of the income for? Are you on active duty in the U.S. Armed Forces? Are you a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces? And any time since age 13, were your parents deceased, in foster care, or were you in foster care, or were you a dependent or what of the court? As determined by a court, were you an emancipated minor? As determined by a court, are you in legal guardianship at any time on or after July 1, 2023? Were you homeless or at risk of becoming homeless? So if a student is answering yes to any of these questions, they're automatically going to be considered they're answering no to these questions, they are automatically going to be considered a dependent student. If you're answering yes to these questions, then you are going to be considered an independent student, which that means you don't need any parental guidance or information on your application. Who are the parents and who files the FAFSA? Again, this is for someone who is a dependent student. It would be the biological or adoptive parents that are married to each other or living together. If it's a single parent, it would be that one parent whom the student lives with greater than 50% of the time. Again, if the student is dependent and they are living with their biological parent and a step parent, because that biological parent has remarried since the divorce, it would be that parent and the biological, the step parent and the biological parent whose information would go on the application. But of course, if you are an independent student, it would just be yourself that would be on the FAFSA form. You wouldn't have a student section and a parent section. It would just be the student section of the application in which you would be completing. Now, there are situations where you sometimes find yourself in, I'm talking again, as someone who may be a student who is less than 24 years of age and they answered no to all those questions. I'm just throwing everything out there because I don't know who's on the line. I don't know who you're filling the application out for. But if a student is unable to provide their parent information because they are considered a dependent student, the parent may be incarcerated. It may be a situation where the student had to leave home because of some type of abuse that's going on. The student would then just complete the student section of the application, reach out to the college or university as to why the parent information has been left off, and then the college or university would take over and determine whether or not that student is going to be considered independent versus dependent. But again, if you are an independent student, this does not pertain to you. Family situations that can not be documented on the FAFSA. Sometimes we find ourselves in precarious situations because life happens. There could be a situation where you have completed your FAFSA form and you use your income tax information to complete it, of course. But on the FAFSA form, you can't talk about every situation that's going on in your life. You could have had a change in your employment status. You could have been laid off. There could have been a death in your family, which your income has been affected by. Your marital status could have changed. You may be going through a separation. You could be going through a divorce. But at the time in which you filed your taxes, everything, both of the husband and wife's information was on the taxes. There could be some extenuating medical expenses that are not covered by your insurance, but they are affecting your income. Ballpark is, if your income is now different from what your income taxes is showing that will be used to complete your FAFSA form, we want you to reach out to the college or university, make them aware of what the special circumstance is, explaining why your income has been affected. 9 times out of 10, they're going to ask you to complete a special circumstance form. They're going to give you information as to where it can be found online. You would complete it and you would submit it. And then, of course, they will use that to determine what your eligibility for financial aid is going to be. So, of course, when you are completing your FAFSA information, they're going to be looking at adjusted gross income, earnings from your taxes. The system is going to tell you what tax year they are referring to. And the reason why you see in red 2 years prior to enrollment, they use prior income taxes. So that basically means they're going to be using the same income taxes for 2 consecutive years. And that's another reason why you may have to reach out to the college or university, because if they're going to be using 2022 or 2021's tax information for 2 consecutive years, the year in which you're going to college, your income could be different because of one of the extenuated circumstances. But if nothing's changed, you just continue to use that same tax information, not reaching out to the college or university. So they're going to be looking at untaxed income, any assets that you have. You have a family farm, if you have a summer home that's not your main resident, if you receive alimony, child support, disability, or what have you, you're going to be providing this information on the FAFSA form. The IRS data retrieval tool is an option that's going to be available to you, which will keep you from having to answer a great deal of the tax information that I just referred to on the previous slide. It's going to allow you to use the IRS data retrieval tool if you have an FSA ID, which is why we highly encourage you to apply for that prior to completing your FAFSA form, as I expressed in the beginning of my presentation. By you using the IRS data retrieval tool, it's going to reach out and grab your income taxes that you filed, and it's going to pre-fill a great deal of the information regarding your income, tax and untaxed. So you don't have to answer all of those individual questions. It's going to know what tax year income taxes it wants to pre-fill your application. So it saves a great deal of time, and it keeps you from answering questions incorrectly or fat fingering and adding a zero or taking away a zero where it should have been placed. So I highly encourage using the IRS data retrieval tool as long as you meet the criteria. And it's going to give you a list of things that you have to meet in order to use this wonderful tool. At the very end of the application, as I mentioned earlier, you're going to use your FSA ID, which of course you're going to go through that security clearance. It's going to tell you what your FSA ID is, and you're going to enter that information where the signature would be placed. So at the end of the application, if you have successfully completed it, it's going to say, congratulations, XYZ, whatever your name is, it's going to customize it and congratulate you on completing it. I often print the signature page, the confirmation page, shall I say, when I was completing this for my sons when they were in college, got one in grad school, so he's doing his own thing now. But I highly encourage you to complete the print the confirmation page. It's going to give you an option to do that. And then at the end of the application, it's going to tell you what your EFC is going to be, your expected family contribution. So you're already going to be told that up front. So when you're completing the FAFSA form, just want to make you aware you are applying for all different types of aid. There's no separate application for the federal Pell Grant, the federal supplemental grant, or federal work study. There is a separate application, of course, if you're going to be applying for the William D. Ford federal direct loan, where you have both the subsidized and unsubsidized loan. But the FAFSA form drives all financial aid. So in order for you to be eligible to apply for a student loan, the FAFSA form has to be on file. But you are automatically applying for all of those different types of aid other than the federal work study. That will be a question that will be asked in the student section of the application. Also, you have sector-based state financial aid that you're automatically applying for when you complete the FAFSA form as well. But it's contingent upon which sector of school you accept admissions to as to which grant you will be considered for. The UNC need-based grant is for UNC system schools, students who attend a UNC system school. We have 16 of those. The North Carolina Community College grant is for students who attend one of the 58 community colleges. The North Carolina need-based scholarship is for students who attend one of the independent colleges and universities that we have in the state, which there are 36 of those. And the North Carolina Education Lottery Scholarship is only given to students who will attend either a UNC system school or a community college. So you're automatically applying for it when you complete the FAFSA form. We also have some other financial aid programs that you may be eligible to receive, or you may know someone, a neighbor, a friend, or a family member. For foster youth, there is a program called the NC-REACH. Those are monies that are given to students who have been in the foster youth program or currently. So they would go to ncreach.org to find out how they would apply for that aid that has been set aside for them. We also have the Golden Leaf Scholarship, and that is by specific counties within the state of North Carolina. Not every county or resident who lives in every county is eligible for the Golden Leaf. So you definitely want to go to the site to find out if the county in which you live allows you to apply for that particular scholarship. We also have a financial aid booklet that we have available to you electronically. It has the scholarships that are listed on CFNC's website within it, and it's called the Student Financial Aid for North Carolinians. If you go to cfnc.org/FA book, it gives you access to those scholarships as well. They're need-based as well as merit-based. And then we have the North Carolina Forgivable Education Loan for Service. And that's for students who are pursuing a career in teaching, nursing, medicine, and allied health. So I would highly encourage you to visit cfnc.org/FELS. It's for students who are pursuing a undergraduate degree, a master's degree, as well as a doctorate degree. Has no age specifics on it. It just depends upon which degree you are pursuing. Also, I know I said loan, but it turns into a scholarship as long as you maintain the criteria through each year of study, and as long as you work within the state of North Carolina when you graduate. You don't have to work for the state, but you have to work in the state of North Carolina. So I want you to go to the link, cfnc.org/FELS, to look at what the criteria is for each program, undergraduate, graduate, as well as doctorate program, for those of you who are going into teaching, of course. We have the residency determination service application that is required for you to be charged in-state tuition. In order for you to be eligible for those 4 sector-based grants that I talked about earlier, this application has to be on file, and you can visit CFNC's website in order to access the NC residency application. However, you do need to create a CFNC account name and password in order to access the application, because when you go to ncresidency.org, it's going to ask you to type in your CFNC account name and password. And in addition to you completing the application, at the very end of the application, it's going to give you a RCN number, which stands for Residency Certification Number. You will be using that on your admissions application for the majority of the colleges and universities here in the state of North Carolina. If they don't ask for it on your admissions application, they will ask, the financial aid office will ask you for it before they process your financial aid award offer that they're going to make to you. So you definitely want to do that as soon as possible. Now, information you may find on your financial aid award notice. Once you have completed your FAFSA form, of course, you've listed the college or university where you want your information to be sent. And now the college or university has processed your application, and they are going to make you aware of what you are eligible to receive. They're going to be telling you the cost of attendance and your estimated family contribution. They're also going to tell you disclaimers about the financial aid offer, letting you know how much time you have before you have to make a decision. They're going to give you a couple of weeks to respond back. And do remember, this is all going to be sent to you electronically. They're going to send it to your email address, because you're going to create a campus portal. You're going to have a campus portal address on that college or university, and that's how they're going to be communicating with you. Reminders to report the receipt of other scholarships you expect to receive. Itemize a list of aid awarded, may it be a grant, a scholarship, work study, or loan. List of action steps you must take to complete the process. terms and conditions that are going to apply to your financial aid offer. So let's say you've applied to more than one school and you're waiting to hear back from maybe you may have first, second, third choice of you being, which ones is your first choice, your second choice, your third choice. Maybe the third choice is already sending your financial aid offer to you, but you're waiting to hear back from one and number two. But remember, you're only going to be giving a time frame to respond as to whether or not you accept their offer. If you need more time, reach out to the school and say, can you give me an additional week to respond back? Because I want to compare my financial aid offers, because you want to get the most bang for your buck, right? So if you don't respond back within the time they've given and you didn't ask for an additional time, but eventually you do respond back, don't be surprised if some of that financial aid offer has been taken off the table. So you definitely want to follow up with the school. This is an example of some financial aid offers from different colleges and universities. Campus A, Campus B, and Campus C, all of their cost of attendance is different, but look at what the EFC is, still $5,000 regardless of which sector of school that you attend. And then it talks about merit-based aid, need-based aid, work study, or what have you. But remember that the cost can be different, but your EFC is going to remain the same. What happens after I file the FAFSA? You complete your verification if required, and we'll talk about that in a few moments. Respond to any questions that the campus financial aid office may have. You're going to receive your financial aid award notification, which is your offer. You're going to reply to the offers of aid and admissions. Don't forget to accept admissions. Sometimes students get so excited they forget to accept admissions. Now they've been, but you got to accept admissions before this financial aid can be released to you. Make sure you complete all the necessary steps to secure your financial aid offer, which include accepting admissions and notify the campus of outside scholarships. FAFSA verification. Colleges and universities across the country are required to pull 33% of their financial aid applications, their FAFSA forms that have been submitted on their college campus at random. Doesn't mean a red flag was raised, doesn't mean anything was questionable. You just were randomly selected for verification. So what you want to do is you want to provide them with whatever information that has been asked. Most colleges and universities will ask for a copy of your IRS tax transcript, which you can get from irs.gov. And until you provide them with the documentation requested, they will not process your financial aid offer. So it's sitting in a pending file until they get that information back from you. So this is a snapshot of what it looks like when you request that tax transcript. So you can get that from irs.gov. So let's sum it up. There's 5 primary areas to finding funding for free. Your FAFSA form, of course, local scholarships that you can seek out, institutional scholarships that only the college or university will have access to, state-based college scholarships that we are going to have listed on CF&C's website, national scholarships that we mentioned earlier. But don't get hooked by misleading financial aid offers. If something sounds too good to be true, many times it's not true. So if someone is asking you to contribute money to assist you with finding free money, that's a red flag. They shouldn't be asking you to pay money when you need some financial aid, free money, okay? So make sure you stay connected with us on Facebook, Twitter, as well as YouTube and Instagram. We're going to be sending updates about financial aid many times through our social media platforms. And we're also going to be talking about a plethora of changes to the FAFSA form for the 24-25 academic year. But what we've talked about tonight is for the 23-24 academic school year. So I'm now going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to come back. I'm going to look in the chat and see what questions that you may have. Okay, let me scroll back up.
I can pull one out for you, Ms. Broadway. One was if you get the out-of-state residency determination status, could you explain more about how that status is decided and what someone might be able to do if they believe they should be counted as in-state?
Sometimes this is simply a question could have been answered erroneously. And of course, if you completed the RDS application, it doesn't allow you to go back. You have to go, the only thing you can do is move forward. So if you feel as though the status was incorrect, that you were considered an out-of-state resident and not an in-state resident, you can always request an appeal. And you can go use your sign-in information, go back to the application and request an appeal, and then they will take a look at that application again. So make sure you go back to Residency Determination Service section of the website on CF&C, and it will tell you the steps that you need to take in order to get that appeal. Was there another question that perhaps let me see if I can look through here. She's talking about T.E.A.C.H, Latoya.
One connected to that was how to successfully apply for scholarships as a foreign student.
Well, we do have the parameters on our scholarship engine where you can ask to look at scholarships based upon residency and citizenship. So you can weed out scholarships that are not geared toward U.S. citizens or residents, or U.S. residents or citizens. And that will tell you, we will just show you those scholarships that you do meet the criteria for. So we have the ability for you to do that on CF&C's website. We have the filters where you can go and you can select what you're looking for in a scholarship or what category you fall in as to what scholarships you may be eligible to receive. Okay. Let me see here.
One more question was, if someone did not live in the U.S. during the tax year that it's asking for, so they didn't file taxes during that tax year related to the FAFSA application for 2023 to 2024, is there any other way for them to apply for FAFSA?
They would have to complete those taxes.
Okay.
Those taxes will still, even though it's late, they will still need to complete those taxes. I'm trying to sift here. Let me see.
And if anyone has,
and
a
of course,
go
is
ahead.
someone that says, what does it take to get scholarships and how long does it take? Scholarships are self-initiated. So that's something that you're definitely going to have to seek out on your own. But of course, as I stated before, CF&C has both merit-based and need-based scholarships. And if you know the college or university you're going to be applying for admissions, I would definitely go to the school's website to look at the scholarships they have. That 9 times out of 10, they're going to be merit-based scholarships. There may be some need-based scholarships that the college or university may be offering, but 9 times out of 10, they will be merit-based. I'm sorry, Maggie, did I interrupt you?
No, that was great. I was just going to offer, if anybody hasn't asked your question yet, you can also just come off mute and jump in with your question, or you can put it in the chat.
I don't think I see anything additional.
Awesome. And then I saw some questions coming in about T.E.A.C.H. So the T.E.A.C.H scholarship program is going to be our next presenter. So hang tight for just a couple more minutes.
Yes.
And then if someone needs help filling out their FAFSA, how do they connect with y'all for that support?
We have quite a few tools on CF&C to help with different sections of the FAFSA form just from our website. But if you would like for someone to help you one-on-one, any local college or university has FAFSA financial aid specialists or what have you, or coordinators throughout the course of the day that can assist you with the FAFSA form. You may want to call ahead of time because they may have designated hours in which they would do that. Of course, if you came by CF&C's College Foundation Incorporated's office, we do have someone within the not customer service, but someone that sits at the front desk that could assist. But you definitely will probably want to call as well to make sure that someone was on site to assist you, because we have different team days in which we actually have employees that come into the office. Ever since COVID, of course, we have hybrid hours. So calling ahead and making an appointment would be wise, but our call center is available to assist as well. And that's 1-866-866-2362. So you can call in anytime, Monday through Friday. And we have a little bit longer office hours, Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., 8 to 5 on Friday, but we can assist you with any questions that you may have about the FAFSA form. So you don't necessarily have to come in, but we have a few people who like to do things in person, but feel free to use our toll-free number, and our call center can assist you with any questions that you may have about the FAFSA form.
Awesome. Any other questions for Ms. Broadway?
If not, I thank you for your time and your attention. And if you do have additional questions after tonight, feel free to share those with Maggie, and she can reach out to me, and we'll definitely get those questions answered for you. I wish you all the best and have a wonderful summer.
Thank you. And I saw one person come off mute. Sabre, were you wanting to ask a question?
I'm sorry.
Not a question, but a quick concern. One of the people attending the session is having a concern with their residency application. I think she says she's an immigrant.
Okay.
Is it possible for me to speak with her after this call? I made a note earlier on. I'm glad I got to meet you and see your face, Ms. Sarita. I actually work with residency at the Raleigh location. If it's possible, can I take a look at her application after this, just so I can kind of help her get through the process?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So whoever you are, if you could just message me directly, I can speak with you after this to try to help you get it figured out.
Yay. Thank you so much. So glad you're here. That's perfect.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, thank you, Ms. Broadway. Kara, you ready to jump in and talk about T.E.A.C.H?
Yes, thank you so much. I will go ahead and share. Okay, so thank you so much again. I appreciate all of you for being here tonight and being able to attend. My name again is Kara Trinkle, and I'm with the T.E.A.C.H Early Childhood North Carolina program. And I am, as she mentioned previously, an outreach coordinator, and I'm also a counselor. So I do these presentations as well as help recipients and students like yourself on my caseload. So just a little bit about what we're going to discuss today. We're going to talk about what T.E.A.C.H is, the program goals of T.E.A.C.H, of course, the scholarships that we have to offer, and then how you can apply to those scholarships. And then again, any questions you can put in the chat during or after the presentation. So why do we here at T.E.A.C.H think education should be important to you? The first thing is to increase the knowledge and skills that you have as an early childhood professional. We know that you are working with the children in our community. So if we can help increase your knowledge and skills, that is going to directly increase the knowledge and skills of the children that you're working with. We also hope to provide career opportunities for you in the early childhood education field. So this is very dependent on yourself and what your personal journey is, and your counselor can definitely guide you on your own career path. And then also to provide an opportunity to increase your wages based on the increased education that you will be receiving. So why should you become a recipient of T.E.A.C.H? Number one would be a debt-free college education. Number two is a compensation awards that you can receive. So we have a few different awards that you can receive, such as completing contracts, as well as some other additional bonuses. As you can see here, if you obtain your degree, you can receive a bonus for that. And then as well as continuing with the program and continuing to get your education. So what is TEACH? So TEACH stands for Teacher Education and Compensation Helps. This is a statewide program that provides scholarship opportunities for those who are working in the early childhood education field. That may be that you're working in a licensed childcare facility, you own your own family childcare home, or you're working in a religious childcare agency as well. And we do also offer some scholarship for those who are not working directly with children, but they are working on behalf of children in the early childhood field. Every TEACH scholarship is going to have 5 main components. The first thing is the scholarship itself. So that's going to be the funds that you're receiving towards your tuition and books. The educational component. So each scholarship has a specific educational requirement. This does vary depending on the scholarship, but most of our scholarships do require a minimum of 9 credit hours to be completed in a contract year. Compensation. So again, for completing contracts and for obtaining degrees, different bonuses and things like that. A commitment period. So this does again vary on the scholarship that you're on, but our scholarships do require a commitment period, whether that be to an employer that you're currently working at that is sponsoring you on scholarship, or to the early childhood field in general. And finally, a counselor. So again, someone like me that you can ask your questions to, that you're going to send all of your paperwork and they're going to do along the way on your scholarship. So just briefly about the goals of TEACH, as I mentioned before, we hope to increase your knowledge and education to help those children in the communities that you're working with directly. We also hope to encourage professionals such as your employers to encourage you to continue your education, to provide increased compensation, again, directly based on the amount of education that you're receiving. We also hope to reduce staff turnover. So that's where that commitment period comes into play. And once you complete your contract, that you would stay in the field or with your employer for a certain amount of time. Again, we also want to help your professional developmental path that you have for yourself. And then finally, just creating that model of partnership, whether it's with a community college or a university or another agency in the community, to make sure that we're giving the best care to the children that we can here in North Carolina. So how can you apply for the scholarship? This is the minimum requirements that go for most of our scholarships. It will vary again, depending on the scholarship that you're on, but most of our scholarships do require that you're working a minimum of 30 hours per week. Again, that can be in a licensed childcare facility, your own family childcare home, or even if you're working in an agency that is not directly with children, but on behalf of children, for example, like a Head Start program. Most of our scholarships do require that you have sponsorship of your employer, and I will briefly go over that here in a moment. And then currently at the time of this recording, the income cap has been suspended. So at this time, it does not matter what your income is. Previously, it was that you made $18 or less per hour, but as of right now, there is no income cap. So a few of our most popular models that I'm going to be going over today is our associate degree scholarship, our bachelor degree scholarship, and then our working scholars scholarship. So most of our scholarships provide the following assistance. So like I mentioned earlier, tuition and book assistance. We also have what we call an access stipend here at TEACH. So this does exclude working scholars, but for the other ones that are eligible, this is an $85 award that you would get each semester. And basically this award can just be used on whatever you need it to be used on. So previously, when people were attending more in-person courses, we would say you could use it towards your gas to get to and from class. You could use this towards your internet bill if you're taking online classes, really just whatever you need assistance with, that's there to provide that for you. Our scholarships do also offer release time, which just does exclude a director's model or the working scholar scholarship. But this release time is going to be paid time off from work that you're receiving to be able to do what it is you need to do to be successful in work and in your school. So whether you need to go home from work a couple hours early to study for an exam the next day, or if you just need to complete homework, or maybe you just need to do something to make your life to keep going forward, even though you are at work and school all day. So this time is hours you'll put on a sheet and turn into us, and then we would reimburse your employer for a certain amount of those hours. And then finally, the compensation. Again, any compensation you receive for completing contracts or other bonuses. So this is a breakdown of our scholarship. This is for the associate degree scholarship. And I'm just going to briefly go over the teacher option. So at the very top where it says teachers, and I'll go over the line that's in red. It is the first line there. So in this example, the recipient would be responsible for 5% of their tuition and books. Their center or employer would be responsible for 5% of tuition. And then teacher pick up the remainder, the 90% of tuition and then 95% of books. So once you complete your contract year successfully, you will receive a raise. As you can see, it says a 3% raise or a 4% raise. So that is because we have a small and a large model. And the main difference between those is a small model, you would take a minimum of 9 to 12 credit hours in the contract year. And then the large model would be up to 15 credit hours in the contract year. So below that, you can see there's also a option for a bonus instead of a raise. The same thing applies for 9 to 12 credit hours or 9 to 15 credit hours. As far as the raise goes, that would come completely from your employer, and the bonus would be partially from your employer and partially from T.E.A.C.H. So where it says C $200 to $350, that means your center or employer would pay that amount and T.E.A.C.H. would pay the remainder. We also offer different models for directors who are an employee of their center, and then directors who are the owner of their center or a family child care provider. This is a breakdown of our bachelor degree program. And again, it's a very similar way that it's set up. I will say the main difference is there's not the option of the small or large model. You'll just see the one amount for raise or one amount for a bonus. Some important talking points that I want to point out is when you go to apply for the scholarship, you can obtain that application off of our website, or you can reach out to us here at T.E.A.C.H. and we can send you a copy of that application. So you're going to complete that application in full and then submit that back to us. You can do that via mail, email, or fax, and I'll have that information at the end for you. Just make sure when you're completing and sending in your application that you've answered all of the questions and that you've attached all the required documents. Each application does have a list at the very bottom saying what all you need to attach to your application. And once you submit to that application to us, as long as it's complete in full, it'll take about 2 weeks to be approved. So once you are approved, you'd hear back from us via email. So make sure you're putting the best email for you on the application once you turn it in. So once you're approved for scholarship, you're going to be receiving an email from us saying, welcome to T.E.A.C.H., and it's going to have an acceptance packet. And that packet's going to include some forms that you need to complete and return to make your contract active. So one of those forms is going to be your pre-authorization form, and you'll just be writing on there the courses that you're wanting T.E.A.C.H. to pay for at what college. So once we receive those documents, we can send what's called a charge approval to the college. So basically what this is, it's a letter that we tell the college we're going to pay for these courses and this certain amount. And this allows the college to drop any holds on your account. That way you're not getting dropped from your courses or being blocked from purchasing books or anything like that. And then the college later on in the semester will bill us directly. So you may still see that amount on your online portal, but the college is going to bill us after the drop date or towards the end of the semester to take care of that balance. Now, if you've already purchased your tuition out of pocket, you can be reimbursed. You'll just need to send in itemized tuition receipts showing that you paid for the courses. As far as books goes, we do pay for required textbooks for your coursework. So some of our colleges do allow you to charge your books to the college bookstore under your T.E.A.C.H. program after we send the charge approval. But there are some colleges that will not allow you to do so. So if you're at a college that does not allow you to charge books, you could just purchase those books and then send in a receipt for reimbursement. When you're purchasing those books, you can purchase those from really anywhere as long as you can obtain a receipt for that. So it could be Amazon, it could be Chegg. It doesn't necessarily have to be from the college bookstore. As far as financial aid, I know we just heard a great presentation about financial aid, and we do also recommend that everybody apply to financial aid, but it is not a requirement to be on the T.E.A.C.H. program. What I will mention is if you are awarded the T.E.A.C.H. program, do make sure that if you want to use that scholarship, that you use it before you use any financial aid. So the main reason being is if you pay for your college courses with financial aid, we unfortunately cannot reimburse you for the use of financial aid. but we can pay for your tuition and books first, and then you can use financial aid to pay for any remainder. Or if you just receive a grant, you can receive that as a refund to yourself and use those funds for other things that are needed. Finally, the ACH form, our agency is changing to direct deposit, so where you're no longer sending paper checks. So this is a form you'll receive in your welcome email, and you'll just need to fill that out and submit it back to us with either a blank voided check, a direct deposit form, or a bank letter. And this just allows us to verify the information that's on the ACH form. So once we reimburse you or award you any bonuses, that's where we would send those funds. Working Scholars Scholarship. So this scholarship is a little bit different than the ones I mentioned before. This is what's called our T.E.A.C.H scholarship, and the ones I previously just mentioned are our comprehensive scholarships. So the main difference with this scholarship is you do not have to have sponsorship of your employer, meaning they would not have any financial responsibility to pay for your courses. The requirements are very similar. You would still be working 30 hours per week in a licensed childcare facility and enrolling in early childhood coursework. So here's a breakdown of what those T.E.A.C.H scholarships look like. And I'll go over a little bit of the differences as well. So in this instance, you're going to be receiving a specific amount award each semester. In the example of an associate degree, you would receive $625 per semester, and that is for 6 credit hours. And this scholarship is good for 5 semesters. So the scholarships I mentioned previously for the associate and bachelor's degree that are sponsored by your employer, those scholarships can be renewed yearly until you obtain your degree or the certificate you're going for. These scholarships for working scholars, they are a maximum of 5 credit hours. So once you use your 5 credit hours, you would no longer be eligible for this scholarship. But in the future, if you were to apply to a different scholarship and have sponsorship, you could do that. In this instance, you're going to receive a bonus for completing 12 credit hours, and that's going to be $350. And then as you can see for the bachelor's and the BA+, the amount's going to be a little bit more because those classes are a little bit more expensive. So you'll be receiving $1,250 for up to 6 credit hours per semester for up to 5 semesters. And our BA+ is referring to our birth to kindergarten licensure program. This is a short list of some additional scholarships I did not go over today, but we do have. On our website, we have quite a few that you can look for. I'll go over briefly a few of these. So our Quick Start Final Step Associate Scholarship, this is going to be for individuals who maybe just want to complete EDU 119, or maybe they just have 1 to 2 courses to complete their associate degree, for example, to move on to the bachelor's program. So this one is not, you cannot renew this scholarship, and it's for a maximum of 7 credit hours. As I just mentioned, our Bachelor's Plus is going to be that birth to kindergarten licensure program. We do also offer a master's degree in education with an emphasis in early childhood leadership and management, as well as our early care and education community specialist program. So that's going to be the scholarship for those individuals who are not working directly in a classroom, but on behalf of children. We also have a contract renewal incentive bonus. So on the first 2 scholarships, I spoke about the associate and bachelor's degree that are sponsored by your employer. You can renew those scholarships every year until you've completed your degree. So if you complete a contract and renew that contract for a second contract, and once you complete 6 credit hours in that first semester of your second contract, you could be awarded a contract renewal bonus. We also offer bonuses for obtaining degrees. So for your associate degree, you can receive a one-time bonus of $1,200. And then your bachelor in birth to kindergarten would be a one-time bonus of $2,000. To obtain this degree, you just need to send in either a copy of your diploma, or you can send in an unofficial transcript, as long as it states the type of degree and the date that degree was awarded to you. We also do have a few new scholarships here at T.E.A.C.H that I'm going to touch on briefly, and that is our Associate Degree Apprenticeship Scholarship and our CDA Scholarship. So the associate degree apprenticeship scholarship is for those that are working in an apprenticeship program here in North Carolina. In this instance, the recipient would complete 9 to 15 credit hours of coursework towards their associate degree. They would receive 3 hours of paid release time each week. And T.E.A.C.H would pay for 100% of tuition and 100% of books, as well as the access stipend. Upon successful completion, they would receive a bonus of $675, again, partially from your employer and partially from T.E.A.C.H. Our CDA scholarship this one specifically is for NC pre-K teachers who are working a minimum of 30 hours per week, and they are obtaining their CDA through quorum or teaching strategies. So you complete the training through quorum and teaching strategies. T.E.A.C.H would pay 100% of the CDA book and 100% of the assessment fee. And a $200 bonus would be awarded upon the award of your CDA. These are some of the priority deadlines here at T.E.A.C.H. We are currently accepting applications for the summer and fall of 2023 semesters. These are not hard deadlines by any means. They're just kind of to give you a heads up of when to get your paperwork turned in by to make sure that you are able to get approved in the proper amount of time. I do recommend that you check with your college about the drop date of each semester to make sure you can get everything completed before that date, so you're not dropped from your courses. The priority application deadline, if you're looking to apply for fall, I would say apply between June and July. If you're looking for the spring semester, apply between September and October. And for the summer semester, between February and March. We also have a priority pre-authorization deadline. So this is going to be, again, the form that you let us know what classes you're going to take so we can send the charge approval to the college. We recommend that those forms are turned in for fall no later than August 1st, spring no later than December 1st, and summer no later than April 1st. These are our claim submission deadlines. So these are hard deadlines. This is going to be the time that you need to turn in any forms for reimbursement. So the Form B is a form you turn in if you paid for your tuition out of pocket and wish to be reimbursed. And the Form C you see there is a release time form. So that's that paid time off of work that you're receiving. So for the fall semester, those do need to be submitted no later than January 31st. The spring semester no later than May 30th. And the summer semester no later than August 31st. So failure to submit those forms before those dates would unfortunately forfeit the claims that we would be able to give back to you. This is a list of our contact information. So again, you can retrieve all of the applications from our website, and that's www.childcareservices.org. There's also a portion on our website where if you have questions, you can fill out a form and it will let us know that you had the question and we can email or call you directly. You can also contact us by phone or email address. So our phone number is listed here is 919-967-3272. And our email address is going to be teachinc@childcareservices.org. So that email address, you can email us questions, you can email all of your paperwork to that email. And I also can go ahead and put our fax number in the chat. You can also fax all of that information to us as well. So if anyone has any questions, I would be happy to answer those for you.
Ms. Trinkle,
Yes,
I have several questions. I'm sorry.
so it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so I just applied with my financial aid today. I'm in the I'm at Durham Tech. I'm enrolled at Durham Tech for the early childhood development associate's transfer degree. So I just received my financial aid today, but I know you just said that don't sign up with financial aid, because I sent my T.E.A.C.H paperwork in today.
So you can sign up for financial aid. We do recommend that you apply and sign up for financial aid. What I would say is make sure if you want to use your T.E.A.C.H scholarship to use your T.E.A.C.H scholarship first, because if you use financial aid, we just cannot reimburse that. So for example, if you maybe don't get approved for T.E.A.C.H and you already use your financial aid, we could just move you to the next semester and you could still be eligible for T.E.A.C H.
Okay, do I have to just wait to hear back from T.E.A.C H? Because I have my financial aid. I just didn't register for my classes yet.
Yeah, so once you apply to teach, like I said, it takes about 2 weeks. So if you were able and have the time to wait, most of the time, you know, if you need extra time, you can always contact the college. Or like you said, if you haven't enrolled yet, you probably have enough time to go ahead to wait to see if you've been approved. Typically, when you send in your application, if anything's missing, you should hear within 24 to 48 hours from one of the counselors. So someone will be in touch with you.
Okay, that's the question I had. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, what would be my first step if I'm interested in a BA plus or a master's degree in education? Or I think it's called the Leadership in Infant Toddler Learning, and it's got a little bit more to it or whatever. So what would be my first step? And also for all of these, everybody would have to be working, actually we have to work for 30 hours a week, right, in the childcare center.
Yeah, so as
Okay.
far as applying for the bachelor degree, master's degree in programs, basically anything besides the associate degree, we are going to require that you turn in a college admissions letter. So we typically recommend that you would be approved to the college first. You're more than welcome to submit your application before then. I will just say that we do hold on to pending applications, so something that's not complete for 30 days. And after the 30 days, you are considered expired and you would have to reapply. So if you're not sure you'll get that admissions letter within the 30 days, I would go ahead and wait to apply to teach until after you've been admitted to the college.
Okay.
And as far as your other question, yes, the majority of our scholarships do require that you work a minimum of 30 hours per week. There are some different scholarships that do vary based on the program that you're in. For example, if you work at a part day school program or something like that. But the majority of our scholarships do require that you work at least 30 hours per week.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mhm.
For the teach program, I heard you say something about 6 credit hours. I was gonna apply for the teach. I already have the application. I applied to UNCG, already got accepted, already have my classes. I'm teaching at public school, Durham Public Schools. So I'm already teaching in the pre-K program. I already work 40 hours. So my question is, I seen on that application you want a W-9 from the school. Do I have to get that from the school, or I'm kind of confused about that part?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's something I definitely meant to bring up. So the W-9 form is an IRS tax document. So that's going to be something that you can obtain from our website. It's on the same page as the applications, or you could obtain that from the IRS website. So that form is going to be something that you need to complete yourself. The reason being that we need this form is if we give you an award of scholarship more than $600, then we do have to report that to the IRS. So that's what that form is used for.
Okay, so it's not nothing that the school got to fill out. Okay, I was kind of
Yep, that's
confused on
correct.
that. Okay, also, I only have to take, because I just have to get my I already have a bachelor's degree. I just have to get my license. So, my question is, you said 6 hours. I really only want to do one class. So am I eligible for teach or not? Because I only want to do one class because I'm working and it's already going to be too much.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, you would still be eligible for teach. So the 6 credit hours I mentioned is a maximum amount of credit hours you can take on the working scholars model per semester. So if you're on working scholars, you could definitely just take one course. We do just prorate the award that you would receive to match the amount of credits. And if you're on our comprehensive model, we just require that if you want to receive compensation for the contract, that you take 9 credit hours within the contract year or the 3 semesters. So you can definitely take one class per semester and still even be eligible for the compensation.
Okay, I guess that's what's gonna be I don't know which one to apply for. I really don't know which one to apply for.
Yeah, so I would recommend speaking with someone at your employment. I don't know if you have an HR department or someone that's in charge of your finances at your employer and discussing the options with them. So the comprehensive models I spoke with at the very beginning, that's where they're going to have to pay that 5%. And then the working scholars is where they're not able to financially sponsor you, but they just want to support you on your educational journey. So I would speak with your employer to see if they're able to financially sponsor you or not. And then from there, you could make the decision of which scholarship to apply to.
Okay, I have a question about that. I'm glad you brought that up. So do I go under NC pre-K, or do I go under Durham Public Schools? Because that was the confusion for me.
So you said you're currently employed as a pre-K teacher at the Durham Public Schools?
Yes, but it seems as if even though I'm in the public schools, but it seems like I'm under NC pre-K. That's what it seems like. So I was kind of confused about who do I turn the application into? Is it NC pre-K or Durham Public Schools? My
Yes.
principal.
Yeah, so it sounds like it would be your principal from Durham Public Schools. So on the application, it's going to ask for your employer to complete their information. And on that page, they're going to put either the tax ID number or license number of the school. And that's how we connect you to your employer on our system. As far as being involved in the NC pre-K, there's just going to be a question on the applications that ask if you are an NC pre-K teacher, and you would just mark yes or no on that question. So in your instance, you would mark yes, but your actual employer of Durham Public Schools will be the one to complete your application or let you know if they're able to sponsor you or not.
Okay, so when I did take it to my principal, she said, don't go to her. So that's where the confusion at, because I did. She saw it and I took it to her, and she almost like it doesn't come to her.
And there may be someone else besides your principal that handles those financials. So I would probably just ask her if there's someone else you need to go to. Again, sometimes it could be an HR person, sometimes it could be a principal. It really just depends on who's in charge of the finances at your employer. So she may be able to point you in the right direction. If they have any questions about who that would be, they can always contact us here at T.E.A.C.H as well, and we can try to help them walk them through that.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that because she doesn't know herself, so that's why I'm just asking these questions because yeah, okay.
Miss
Yeah, no
Vanessa, I just
problem
want
at
to
all.
jump in because I work with the Durham Pre-K team here, and I'm happy to support you in figuring that out with Durham Public Schools. We can connect
Okay.
after this.
Thank
Because
you.
I thought Karen said it goes to her. That's what I thought.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ms. Crinkle, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
You can't see me, can you?
I cannot. That's
Okay.
okay. That's okay.
Well, listen, I don't go to Durham Tech, but I have taken some classes there, and I just need one class to get my early childhood development certificate.
Mhm.
So this program be good for me to pay for that one class?
Yeah, so are you currently working in a licensed childcare facility?
Yes, I work at an autistic center.
So yeah, if you're currently working, you could use our Quick Start Final Step model that I briefly touched on during the presentation. So again, that scholarship is just going to be for a maximum of 7 credit hours. So if you only needed to take one course, you would be able to take the 3 credit hours or 4 credit hour course on that scholarship model.
Okay. And so which link do I need to click when I go on your website?
So there's going to be a few different clicks. Let me pull it up really quickly on my phone and I can tell you those so you can jot that down. I can also send this as well so it can be sent out to everyone. Once you go to www.childcareservices.org, you're going to scroll down and there's a couple of different options and one's going to say Teach Early Childhood Scholarship. So then
Okay.
there's a button there you can click to learn more. And then that will take you to our Teach page. And if once you scroll down, again, there's a couple of different options and you'll just push learn how to apply.
Okay.
So let's see, learn more and then learn how to apply. And that's going to be the page that has all of our scholarships listed. They are links, so you'll just click on the link and it'll be a drop-down menu of different scholarships that are available.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if I don't live in North Carolina.
Do you work in North Carolina?
I do not. I'm from Mississippi.
Okay. So yes, unfortunately for the North Carolina Teach program, you do have to at least work in North Carolina. There may be another program in Mississippi that you can look into. So I would go ahead and just do some research to see if there is a Teach program there for you. But unfortunately for this program, you do have to at least work in North Carolina. And then you could also potentially live in North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. Crinkle.
You're welcome.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I asked a question through the chat, but I couldn't find the answer on the website that Ms. Megan gave me. I work at a middle school and I want to pursue a degree in career and technical education. Does the T.E.A.C.H grant cover for middle school
So most
employees?
most of our scholarships are for birth to 5 age group. As I mentioned earlier, we do have some scholarships that are available for like a part-day program, depending on what your specific role is. And I could definitely touch base with you if you wanted to send us an email and we could go over like your specific job title and things like that to see if you're eligible or not.
Okay. Would I just email what's on the screen?
Yeah, if you could send us an email at teachnc@childcareservices.org, and then one of the counselors that has your county will reach out to you and answer that question for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another question in the chat, Kara, someone says, I'm wondering if you all had any scholarships for undergrad early childhood students.
Yeah, so the associate degree scholarship can be used for anyone that's working towards an associate degree or any certificates, any credit hours in the undergraduate program at a community college here in North Carolina.
And then for undergrads in a four-year university, it would be the bachelor's degree scholarship, right?
Yes, so for the bachelor's degree scholarship, you do need to have 55 or more transferable credit hours to be eligible for that scholarship. So if you have less than 55, you would need to do the associate degree scholarship at a community college level until you have the 55, or you could always use, for example, your financial aid to get enough credit hours. And once you have the 55 or more transferable credit hours, you could be eligible for the bachelor's degree scholarship at a university.
Thank you. And then the next question was, what happens if the commitment isn't fulfilled, i.e. employment status change or life event?
Yeah, so every situation really does vary depending on what your situation is. For example, if you were to leave your employer early though from a contract and break your commitment period, you may be asked to return some of the payments that we gave you for your tuition and books, as well as any bonuses you received. Again, I would just speak with your counselor to see what those would mean, or you can also email us before time and ask us those questions. But we do require that if you're on scholarship and you do plan on leaving your employer, that you let us know within 10 business days of that happening. And I will say, I didn't specify this earlier. For example, the associate degree scholarship, that's going to be a year-long scholarship. And that commitment period is going to be a year commitment period once you complete the scholarship. And it does vary dependent on other contracts, but that one's going to be for your specific employer. And if you're on the working scholars model, for instance, where you're not sponsored, that's going to be a little bit different of a commitment period because that's going to be to the field in general. So if you were to change jobs on that scholarship model, it would be okay as long as you stay in the field of early childhood.
Thank you. And then next question, what if you have less than 55 hours but attend a four-year university? Would you still complete the associate application?
Yeah, so in that instance, you would have to complete the associate degree application, and then you would have to take those courses at a community college level if you wanted those to be funded by T.E.A.C.H. So we cannot fund those credit hours at a university until you had the 55 or more credit hours. So you could take them at a community college to obtain the 55, and then once you have your 55 credit hours, you could apply to the bachelor's degree and then move forward with that application.
So it's kind of equivalent to if you stay at your four-year university, it's equivalent to being a junior, more or less.
Yes.
So if you reach your junior year there, you could apply. Awesome. Any other questions for Kara?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
So once I'm finished at Durham Tech, I plan to transfer to like a four-year university to get my bachelor's. I could still use T.E.A.C.H then too.
Yeah, so you would
When I
just apply.
transfer?
Yeah, you would apply for the bachelor's degree scholarship, and as long as you have the 55 or more transferable credit hours, you could apply to that program.
Okay. So earlier when I asked you about the financial aid, do you just want me to wait until I receive the welcome package for T.E.A.C.H, or just go ahead and register for my class? Because I don't know when the deadline is. I gotta ask Durham Tech.
Yeah, I would definitely ask about the drop date of the courses. So that's going to be the main date that you need to be aware of, so you're not dropped from your courses due to non-payment. As far as financial aid, I would check in with financial aid about the time that the award needs to be accepted or not. So that may be a question better for Miss Broadway. But as far as for T.E.A.C.H, if you already applied to T.E.A.C.H and that 2-week process period you think will be enough time, then you could go ahead and wait to use T.E.A.C.H first and then have your financial aid kick in after. But just to make sure, you're not getting dropped from your courses, I would just double check with those sources, because if for whatever reason financial aid does have to kick in and pay for this semester, we can always make sure you're set up for the semester after to be used for T.E.A.C H.
Okay. Do I have to fill out an application for the next semester, or how does that work?
Yeah, so most of our scholarships are 3 semesters or a year. So for example, if you filled out an application for fall, you'd be good until summer of next year. So then depending on what scholarship model you're on, you may just be able to renew your contract next summer for another year. Or if you're changing, the main reason you'd have to reapply is if you're changing degrees. So if you're going from an associate degree and then you're going to be starting to work on your bachelor's, you do have to reapply.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Great questions, everybody. Any last ones?
Oh, Ms. Maggie, I saw your thing in the chat, so I don't have to register until August 6th.
No, you should go ahead and register now. Your payment's not due till August 6th.
Oh yeah, I already got my classes planned out and stuff. I just didn't pay for them yet.
I know, you should be good. That's all I was saying.
Okay. Okay, then I'm good then. Okay.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think I just direct messaged someone. I was trying to put the fax number in the chat. My mistake. Sorry about that, Miss Williams.
Did we miss any questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you have a CDA, will the T.E.A.C.H have, how does that work?
Can you
as
specify
far as-
what you mean of how does it work?
Yes. Yes, that's the question. How does it work?
How does it work to be funded by T.E.A.C.H for your CDA?
That's correct.
Okay, so you would just apply to one of our CDA scholarships. So there's the one I mentioned during the presentation, and that's for NC pre-K teachers that are receiving their CDA through teaching strategies or quorum. But we also do have another CDA application that does not require you to be an NC pre-K teacher or go through that specific program. So you would just apply to that scholarship.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, can I ask a question right quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I had to work over, so unfortunately, I have missed the whole beginning of the meeting. How would I watch the recording?
Yes, I'll be sending out the recording afterward, and then feel free to reply back to that email with any questions that you still have after checking it out. And our presenters are happy to keep fielding questions. So, and I'll have,
Okay. Do I need to put my name or email address or anything in the chat box?
no, ma'am, since you registered, I'll be sending it out to the email that you registered with.
Oh, okay, thank you.
This all that came through that order? Okay. Here you go, Hans.
All right. So then to wrap us up, I'm just going to share a little bit of information. I know we're just past our time, so if you need to sign off, we'll keep recording, but if you can stay with us, then we'll just wanted to share a little bit more information with y'all about some apprenticeship opportunities. So especially if you are in the Durham area, but also these opportunities are available beyond the Durham area, and I'll share more about that as well. Apprenticeships are an opportunity to earn while you learn. So at its core, an apprenticeship is fundamentally a job. So it's a job in an early childhood setting where you're receiving twofold training. So you're receiving structured on-the-job training with a mentor teacher, and then you're also participating in your related college coursework towards your early childhood degree at the associate or the bachelor's level. So for some of you, that may be a job in early childhood that you already have, where your employer might be willing to sponsor you as an apprentice, or if you're entering or re-entering the profession, it may be a new job in early childhood. So in an apprenticeship program, you have that opportunity to complete college courses tuition free while working full-time or at least 30 hours or more in early childhood. So this is different from an internship, which I know many of us are more familiar with because it's not, apprenticeships are not temporary or unpaid positions. It's actually a job that's intended to build you up and train you up with that particular employer so that you can continue to work there after you complete the apprenticeship. Some of the benefits of apprenticeships for early childhood educators in particular are you do get that opportunity through the T.E.A.C.H scholarship, the T.E.A.C.H apprenticeship scholarship, to have your tuition and books 100% covered. And then along the way, as you grow in your skills and as you grow, complete the different courses and competencies, you'll be receiving incremental wage bumps or increases in your hourly pay that you and the employer agrees to before you sign on to the program. You'll also be receiving completion bonuses, just as Kara shared, through T.E.A.C.H as you complete those contracts along the way. You'll also be getting support from a mentor teacher. That may be someone at your center where you're working, or it may be someone actually from a different center who's an experienced educator who's connecting with you to provide just additional career and professional support along the way. And then there's a sort of an array of flexible resources available to apprentices as well, just to further support you in your academic and career success. Some of these come from things like the T.E.A.C.H Access Stipend, but some also come from Building Bright Futures, which is a statewide resource available specifically to support apprentices in early childhood that can offer additional stipends for things like transportation, technology, and other things that you need to succeed. So this opportunity in Durham in particular is open to current early childhood educators who want to continue pursuing your associate or bachelor's degree, new educators who are interested in going ahead and working while pursuing your degree. It's also there are pre-apprenticeship opportunities for current high school students to go ahead and get started in the field, do some on-the-job learning while completing the basics in early childhood education related coursework. And then there are opportunities for more experienced educators who already have your higher degrees to receive stipends to serve as a mentor. So if you're in the Durham area and you're interested in this, then my contact information is here on the screen, and I'll put it in the chat, and I'm happy to connect with you about this opportunity because we're in the process of designing this and launching it towards with the goal, especially for associate degree apprentices, to get going in the fall, and the bachelor's degree apprenticeships to hopefully be up and running by the spring semester, if not sooner. And if you're not in the Durham area, then there are definitely, there's a lot happening in early childhood apprenticeship statewide. The Building Bright Futures program is a statewide resource that's available to support early childhood apprentices, and you, in whatever county you may be working in, can connect with Building Bright Futures. They have an interest form on their website, which I've included here, that you can express your interest in participating in an apprenticeship program, and their team will reach out to you and either help to connect with your employer that you're working with to talk to them about this opportunity, or if you're not yet working in the field, to explore places in your community that may be looking for apprentices. So just wanted to kind of share that super brief overview. I know we're over time, and then just ask, as folks are signing off, we have a little session evaluation that I'm going to drop in the chat. If you want to share, you could answer your questions, or if you could answer those few questions, just to give us your feedback on today's session. Then you'll also see space if you have an additional question that you didn't quite fully get answered here. Then we're going to be looking at those together and sending out more information in the follow-up materials. So you'll see that on the session evaluation as well. But we would always like to hear your feedback so we can keep offering these types of sessions and support you as educators. We're so happy to have you here and to be able to have these great resources from Kara and Soretta. Thank y'all so much for your time, and I hope you have a great evening and get excited for this upcoming fall semester and get all the resources and funding you need to have in place to be successful. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you all again.